The equity markets are dull and boring, which is a fantastic time and place to be in, right? Few weeks ago, maybe 4th of June, the VIX was high, but it was nowhere near as high it used to be. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. Dull and boring means the headlines is today full of what will Naidu do and what will Chandrababu Naidu do, what will Nitish do to the government and things like that. It's fantastic that the eyes are off the market. The market is not a place where you come for excitement, right? It's a place where you come to improve the return that you get on your overall portfolio. So that is the purpose. So going back a little in history, in the early 90s, the Chicago Board of Options Exchange, CBOE or something like that, right? CBOE created something called VIX, which is the volatility index, which measured how much how the market is going to be for say 30 days from now. So if I tell you that the VIX is now 30, it means in the next 30 days, which is a month, the changes in your portfolio is likely to be 30%. This is arrived by calculating the options pricing, and this is a nice tool to use. In fact, it is often quoted by journalists, by students. Everybody saying that the market is right now volatile. So during the great financial crisis, during the COVID, right, the VIX was very high. When the VIX is very high, it means it's a fantastic time to be investing. Not that many of us would, because we would be scared. We are not sure about our own income, so we don't know how much of our surplus we should put. Now all this brings uncertainty, and therefore the VIX is high. So I think during COVID, India also has a Nifty, or the NSE gives a VIX, and that is now a dull and boring 14. I just checked, it is dull and boring 14. During COVID, I think it went to 70 or 80, right, something like March 2020, and this time during elections it just didn't move much. It went to 20, but typically if you're a journalist, you think, oh, 10 to 20 is huge, it's terrific, so you get a chance to make a video. And so everybody made a video saying how VIX is very high. VIX was not very high during this election, it was just dull and boring. Now dull and boring is exactly how your attitude towards investing has to be, because investing is boring, right? So I remember Vanguard founder John Bogle saying, and I've quoted this very often, and not the exact quote, but he would say, whenever you get if you've invested for retirement and you're young, whenever you get the statement, just look at the statement and just skip it, maybe thrash it, don't even see it. Then after 30-40 years, you will be surprised at the amount of compounding that it has worked. So right, so he said, of course, with respect to the 401k statement, but that is true for you, even for your children's investment. Let's say you have a 2-year-old kid and you started doing an SIP, just don't bother as long as the SIP is in a fund which is say 70-80% in equity and 20-30% in debt. It will give you a good return, right? Typically this used to be the portfolio of a very big fund, which has now changed its name thanks to SEBI. But if you didn't look at it at all during COVID, during great financial crisis, or when the volatility index was high, low, you didn't bother. You just kept on putting money in an SIP, and every year during Diwali when you got bonus, you put a small lump sum also, and it kept growing. You would be surprised to see the amount to which it has grown, because human mind cannot think too much in terms of compounding, especially over 30-40 years, right? So that is what would have happened to your child's money when the child was 18, or to your own money when you pick it up at 55 to see whether I have enough money for retirement, and you will have, right? So earlier days, when people's portfolio was not available at the flick of a switch or a button, people would be surprised when I would call them and say, do you know your portfolio is worth so much? And they would jump out and say, really? How did it happen? You didn't do anything, right? Because you didn't do anything in this dull and boring thing, it happened. So again, to say compounding is the eighth wonder of the world, yes, of course it is the eighth wonder of the world, but for compounding to happen, it takes time, it takes n, right? It could take decades, it could take your whole lifetime. So the amount of money that you invested when you were 20, and if you had left it untouched till the age of 60, that would be huge. In fact, I wrote this whole book saying retire rich, invest rupees 40 a day, right? So during those days, I remember 40 rupees a day meant 1200 a month. You could accumulate 4 crores by the time you're 60. Even now you can do it. Start with a small amount but keep increasing it regularly. It is that powerful. So dull and boring market, VIX not doing anything, but compounding will continue to work. So it's very important that you don't interrupt the compounding, right? So dull and boring market. Boring also means you will get a lot of tips during the day. I think the bank nifty will do better than the nifty. I think nifty will do better than the bank nifty. The bank nifty has run up too much. The nifty has not run up so much. So therefore you should be buying nifty and not bank nifty. Or even worse, people giving you tips. I think this pharma company is going to do very well. Of course, Sun Pharma will do well, but I think this company will do well because the share price is at 30 rupees, whereas Sun Pharma is at 1500 rupees. How much can it go from 1500 rupees? So this can double. Horrible things to say. Right, could be right, could be wrong, but the impact that it is going to have on your total portfolio is going to be insignificant. So even if I went and put 5 lakhs in a share which is today at 30 rupees, hoping for it to become 60 rupees, and it actually becomes 60 rupees, there is no impact at all on my portfolio because I will never have the guts to put a lot of money into it, right? I may go and put 5 lakhs, it may become 10 lakhs. Let's say I put 20 lakhs, it may become 40 lakhs. But what is the overall impact on my portfolio? It is the dull and boring which does it, right? So same thing even if you take running. Do you know that Kenyan runners and Tanzanian runners would be doing 90% or even 95% of their practice sessions at a pace much lower than what they actually run in the race, right? Yes, there will be speed workouts, speed drills, etc., which they do, but that is a very small portion of their portfolio. So largely earn well and continue to do your investments. Let the compounding take its effect, right? So again, when somebody comes and says, can you give me a tip, and I have no clue how to give you a tip. So I would rather have you invest in an index, because even assuming you met me 20 years back in 2004 or maybe even earlier, 2002, and you asked me where to invest, do I have a tip? And my tip would have been maybe index. And even today, if I meet you after 20 years on the road, I don't have to worry about what happened to your money. Of course, in an index it did well. So when your stock market makes headlines, it's not going to do anything great for your portfolio, right? It never makes its headline for the boring part. Can you imagine me coming on television and saying, I think you should put money in an index fund, take term insurance and do nothing for the next 30 years? Why will they call me again, right? So it is important for all of us to create some entertainment for you, etc. So I keep saying, compounding works over long periods of time. So the job of the investment advisor or friend who is helping you invest is to make sure that the client or the investor is kept busy while the market forces create wealth for you. So if you don't interrupt the compounding and just let money be created by the market, by the good shares that you have bought, by the portfolio that you have created, the dull and boring market with dull and boring compounding will create wealth for you. Don't worry. So dull and boring and compounding is a great combination for creating wealth. And for people like me, dull and boring market, compounding, and very big thing, being scared of borrowing, leveraging and buying more and things like that. I would buy, if I have 100 rupees, I would buy 100 rupees. I would not even buy 110 unlike some others. So I just don't. So all this combination goes to create wealth. Yes, of course, it's dull and boring. Thank you.